What's up, everybody? It's your favorite Stormtrooper's favorite nerd, and today we're looking at Star Wars Black Series 6-inch Stormtrooper. I hadn't bought any of this 6-inch line. I was kind of interested in the Darth Maul, but every time I went to buy one, I would look at the paint, and like one eye kind of was off a little bit. I just couldn't bring myself to buy a figure that was painted poorly. That poorly, where he looked a little bit like, I don't know, someone with a lazy eye. So, I was at Toys R Us recently, and I came across this guy. And, you know, I like Stormtroopers, so I was like, I want one. I picked one up, and there was black scuffs all over it, so I didn't get him. And then I picked another one up, and there was black scuffs all over it in different places, so I didn't get him. And there was a third one, and he was in pretty good shape, so he's the one I got. And I gotta be honest with you, I have mixed feelings, but the figure-wise, overall, I'm pretty impressed. He's a pretty solid unit. He looks good. He feels good. Paint-wise, you know, there's nothing. I mean, it's just, you know, white plastic, black plastic. Sometimes black painted on white, sometimes white painted on black. But for the most part, it's just, you know, what you see is what you get. We do have a little bit of, you know, those blue lines are painted up there, and then the gray up there on so that the head gives you a little bit extra, which is nice, but nothing anywhere else, not even on the gun or anything, which would have been an added bonus. The more I mess with mine, can you see that? I don't know if you can see that. Let me see if I turn one light off. Nah, I don't know if the camera's picking it up, but you know, I've been trying to pose them and stuff, and the white plastic rubbing together has kind of been smudging it a little bit. So, something to think about. He doesn't come with a stand, and even though he's a 6-inch figure, I would have appreciated a stand. I like a stand. What can I say? At the joints, you know, like the pins in the joint are not painted appropriately all the time, and you know, that's just nitpicking. But there's some great paint right there. But that's just nitpicking. And then there's some black on his waist there, little buttons, whatever. But let's go over articulation. You know, accessories first. So he comes with the blaster, you know, that's standard issue, and then the blaster rifle. So 2 accessories, and 2 appropriate good accessories. Articulation-wise, head is on a ball joint, a super exposed ball joint. So sometimes it looks a little funny from certain angles, but from, you know, most angles it looks alright. Like, yeah, you can do like the, I mean, he's pointing to his comm chip or whatever. Most angles he's alright, and then it's hinged at the neck, so you can, you know, you can get pretty good range of motion, but the more up you go, the more you expose that ball joint. Shoulders are on a ball or swiveled hinge. Because of this armor plate here, you don't get a whole lot in and out. I mean, it has a butterfly, 2 ratcheted butterfly joint in there as well, but you don't get a whole lot because of this armor plate. And then bicep swivel, it's really well hidden. I definitely applaud them for that. I hate exposed joints. I mean, they're you know, a necessary evil a lot of times, but they did a really good job hiding it. That pin there is hidden pretty well as well. Looks like he double jointed elbow. Yeah, you get one move up there and then one, and then a lot there. But you know, I don't know if they needed that top one. I mean, you know, better have it not needed, I guess. But you know, you don't get much out of it. But you get, you know, you get past 90 degrees, and then it has a hinge. This is what's weird. It has a swiveled wrist that and then the hand itself hinges up and down. Not in and out like most, but up and down. Now on the other side, it's the same, except the hand hinges in and out instead of up and down. And now this does allow you to hold the blaster rifle in a lot of cool poses, but I don't know. I'm not sure what I'd have to think about it, do some real big thinking about that to really see what the advantages and disadvantages are of that. Waist is on a That's the diaphragm joints, ball jointed diaphragm joint. They're really, I like diaphragm joints as opposed to ab crunches, and you really get, I mean, you really get good posability that way. And he goes from, I mean, you get a lot, you know. Soft plastic. Here is the belt. No waist swivel, which is okay because you got the diaphragm joint that kind of gives you what you need, except that the belt would have hit it so well. You know, it's kind of frustrating. And ball jointed, no, they're hinged. Hinge on a swivel, maybe? That's what it looks like to me. Thighs or hips with the thigh swivel. That's, you know, you don't get much out of it, and I'm not a huge fan of exposed joints, but because of the armor here, a lot of it's hidden, but you don't get a lot out of it. So it's a bit of a trade-off. Knee is double jointed, and you know, it has the same double jointed issues that most double jointed knees have, where it just looks a little silly when they're fully exposed. But most of the time, in most poses, this little piece here, it's interesting. That one's here and one's not. I wonder if that's accurate. I'm going to check real quick. And the answer is yes, it is. It's crazy. I've been a fan of this, you know, Star Wars for so long, and I've never noticed that. Interesting. Anyway, now my knee joint on this one is a little loose. This one's fine. This one's a little loose. I mean, he's not doing the Hasbro dance yet, but it is a little loose. No, you know, other articulation on the legs. The feet have a tilt and a rocker, so you can't really ask for anything more there. Maybe a swivel, but I don't think you really need it. Pretty good, pretty solid articulation wise. Accessory wise, a little upset there was no kind of paint on these, but whatever. I love the holster that fits. Not only does the blaster fit in it, but like I think the holster just adds a cool look to Stormtroopers. I always have ever since I was a kid. So let's do some size comparisons. Here he is next to Baron Zemo, Marvel Legends. So you see that's pretty sizable, comparable. That's the word I'm looking for. And there he is next to Classics Hordak, Master of the Universe Classics Hordak. And just for good measure, and what I used as my point of reference, here he is next to a yellowing. See that? That's the problem with white plastic. I hope that this doesn't happen to the Stormtrooper over time, but white plastic has a, I mean, I don't keep my figures in the sun or anything like that, but it has a tendency to yellow. You can see up on his chest. So that's a bit of a concern for me with this guy, but this is how I fact-check my Stormtrooper armor. So yeah, I mean, what's cool is when you can start getting figures that are the same size, you can start, you know, crossing universes and stuff, and it for me, it's pretty cool. Not necessary, but pretty cool. Real quick before we go, one other thing I wanted to talk about. When he's in this mode, or holding the gun, you know, and not the rifle, the finger doesn't quite reach the trigger, which I find obnoxious. The shoulder stock doesn't unfold, and there's nowhere to put the rifle, which I have here. And what would have been nice is there's a peg here in his little backpack part. If there was like a way to peg in, you know, that would have been a nice little added bonus, but nope. If you want him with his more traditional blaster, you find a place to put his gun. Is basically what Hasbro's telling you. So overall, I'm happy I bought him. I just recently passed on a Winter Soldier at, I think it was at Target, Legends Winter Soldier, and I know I could scalp it on, you know, the groups and eBay and all that, but that's not really me. So I passed on that on the Winter Soldier, and I've been kind of regretting it. My thing with Marvel Legends was I was only going to get stuff that was, you know, comic accurate, not necessarily movie accurate. So with this one, I kind of had mixed feelings about as I picked him up too, and I didn't want to go through what I'm going through now with my remorse for not picking up Winter Soldier, so I went ahead and picked him up. He's a good figure. I'm glad I have him in my collection. He's solid. If you're a Stormtrooper nut, you'll love him. If you're a Star Wars nut, you'll love him. But he's $20, and I just feel like that might be a bit high of a price point. 15, this would be a solid purchase. 20 is just a bit much. I mean, Legends are 20, but Legends articulation is overall better, Legends paint is overall better, and Legends accessories blow this thing out of the water. Now, I don't know if they do this mold to try to, they can make, they can retool this a little bit, or they retooled this already from the Sand Trooper mold. They can retool it a little bit more and make Clone Troopers, and then they can do 1,000 different things with them. So I don't know if they do this sort of thing to make the money that they need to make the more unique molds. But I would get another one of these under certain things. And now I'm kind of thinking about I need a Vader in my life, so on and on the addiction goes. It's just a different addiction. And, almost lost my life over this figure. I'm not sure if you heard.
Hey, Mom. Yeah, thanks for calling me back. Yeah, well, I ended up doing it. Yeah. No, just now. Yeah, he's here on the floor. Well, he bought another Stormtrooper. $20. I know. That's what... I'll call you back. He's moving a little.
But I was able to recover, and the wounds are healing up nicely, so I should be good to go in no time. And other than that, it's a solid figure. It's a little overpriced, but it's a great addition to your Star Wars collection. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.